Right, then we have two games which develop in pretty much similar fashion. Just compare. This is, for instance, Kosteniuk versus Pogonina. This is Kosteniuk versus Pogonina and Giuoco piano, and this other one is Skripchenko against Khanty-Mansiysk. Pretty much similar, right? So I'll start with Kosteniuk then. So bishop c4, bishop c5, right, here they are. As I said, friends and, well, teammates of the Russian national representation, knowing each other quite well. I believe they competed in youth tournaments. They really played, must have played a lot against each other. So c3, knight f6, nobody plays d4 nowadays somehow. So it's d3, a6. It's new Ruy Lopez, so to speak, because you try to get something similar to Ruy Lopez, a4. It's a new attempt, actually. Castles, bishop g5. Not sure what this is about. I'm aware of knight a3 move. I'm aware of b4, bishop b3. Right, what I was trying to say, yeah, and new Ruy Lopez, you kind of trying to get, well, a setup you normally looking in Ruy Lopez, or Spanish if you like, bishop b3, bishop c2 later on. I mean, all those typical maneuvers, knight goes to d2, rook e1, knight f1, all that. But you avoid Berlin, you avoid Marshall, you avoid, I mean, those long theoretical lines of Ruy Lopez. Bishop g5, what this is called for? h6, and then black, I mean, it's not that you provoke h6. h6 is not a bad move per se, so it's not that white wants to play bishop e3 just to provoke h6. So perhaps, I think, yeah, white's idea is to go bishop h4. And this pin, yeah, look, bishop went to c5, and it cannot go back, the pawn is on d6, right? So this pin is annoying. Then, I mean, some people actually, hang on a second. I remember recently, I think something like that might be playable. Or, hang on, yeah, perhaps not at once, but first, say, I play bishop a7. This is a typical prophylactical move over there. Because anyway, white's either going to play b4 or d4. Right, so this bishop runs under the tempo nevertheless. I mean, if you try to keep it. So it's kind of wise to go to a7, and then in case of knight d2, for instance, there might be knight e7. With the point being, I mean, if you don't take on f6, then black's gonna play knight g6. Okay, let's take a look at this line, for instance. Rook e1, knight g6, and then knight covers h4. So after knight f1, for instance, black can play h6, and you don't have bishop h4 anymore. You will have to play bishop e3, which seems to be quite acceptable for black. So that's one thing. Bishop a7, knight bd2, knight e7. So white usually tries to take and tries to prove he has something on those light squares, but it might be not easy to prove. So you probably go knight h4 there, and then, I mean, who knows, it could be that, can I do this? Knight g6? Yeah, I would love to. So that after knight f5, thinking, I mean, sometimes even a capture is possible. Even a capture is possible sometimes. It's like d5, bishop a2. Right, white can't take, because then, I mean, white can take, white is not losing material, but this should be just fine for black. Queen d5, takes g6, something takes g6. H takes. Yeah, black is just better in this case. So then, all right, Pogonina decided another way. She played h6 first, bishop here, indeed keeping the pin on, and then, only then, black goes bishop a7. But now it feels somewhat less comfortable, because, let's say, in my line, after knight d2, already you can't play knight e7, not that you want it too much now, but you can't play it. I mean, takes, knight h4. And you have to be aware, I mean, queen h5 comes with a tempo attacking h6 pawn. You can't play knight g6. You simply can't, yeah, it can be taken. f5 usually proves to be too dangerous. I mean, now here it's just a, it's a crazy move. I mean, queen h5, I mean, somehow all white pieces are ready to join, while the bishop on a7, optically it's nice, but it does not participate in the defense of the king's side. All right, so bishop a7 and knight a3 quickly, which is possibly the same idea, to remaneuver the knight to the better square. So after knight d2, usually, I mean, if black doesn't play knight e7, if black doesn't play g5, so you do play rook e1, knight f1, and then you have a choice between e3 or g3. After knight a3, you won't have a choice. So, I mean, black plays something, don't know what. Bishop, can I go bishop e6, by the way? That is, okay, that's a separate question. Let's say black passes somehow. Rook e8, for instance, which is, don't know what for, but is known to be one of the possible moves. Knight goes to c2, so no knight g3 ideas, but knight e3 is fine. Plus, from c2, this knight sometimes supports the 3d4. Right, so that's a modern take on Giuoco piano. Well, you can see more and more players prefer to develop this knight to a3. Kosteniuk is in her preparation. It's 1 hour and 31 minutes for her. And, well, and let me switch to the other happens in Kosteniuk Pogonina, because in Skripchen Khanty-Mansiysk, not many things happen. Black played d5 and that's it. But Kosteniuk against Pogonina, after knight a3, what has happened? Black played bishop e6, rook e1, rook e8, b4, and Pogonina went for the maneuver which you typically see in Breya system of Roy Lopez. So once again confirming on my theory that Giuoco piano is a new Roy Lopez. Knight b8, heading this knight to d7, because anyways knight is fairly restricted on c6 by this pawn on c3, and possibly could be kicked away later on. So knight b8, bishop e6, rook e6, knight c4, knight b to d7, and d4. Once again, typical Kosteniuk, straightforward. Wow. What does that mean? If white captures, if black captures here immediately, I guess white is planning to take with the knight, because if you take with the pawn, then I might consider this g5. Somehow I do not believe in this sacrifice on g5, and after bishop g3, I think black can take. Even though it is dangerous, of course, because you do have a hole on f5 here, like, you know, knight e3 and knight try to place the knight on f5. But who knows? I mean, it's a pawn. So after this, it allows knight d4. Black is not in time, right? And if black plays after d4, if black plays g5 with the same idea, g5, bishop g3 to take on d4, then white has a nice intermediate move, d5, driving the rook away, then playing bishop g3. And here, even though who knows, because indeed f5 is a hole in black's camp, but if black is in time to regroup his pieces, I mean, this knight, when it jumps to e3, it can be taken, in fact. The bishop looks nice on a7, but it might want to take the knight. So I would think of playing knight h5 possibly, so that have to make sure there is no tactics, right? If this knight takes somewhere, then black will take on g3. After knight e3, black takes there, and then depending on what white plays, or maybe it doesn't matter what white plays, black will not take the bishop, which will be, I think, a serious positional mistake. But instead, black will go knight g7, preparing for f7, f5. and that will be... Can he... hang on. I think it could be that black can play f5 at once, and then take on knight g7. Take on f5, you know, queen f6. Yeah, that looks comfy enough. So it could be that g5, while being, you know, a little bit too optimistic, might be not such a bad move. After this, does black have an option of capturing h4? Not likely. So probably this then. Bishop g3. Maybe that's a better version for white to go for this position. And then to try to reroute the other knight as well to e3 and f5 later on. So g5 is risky, of course. But if not g5, then what do you do? Somehow it seems white got something in the center. White did got something in the center. Yeah, right. So it is this type of slight advantage white was opting for. Well, the other Giuoco, those two ladies, that's the position here, and the more I look at it, the more I like Kosteniuk's position. d4. Remember, yeah, I was trying to make g5 work, where white would go with an intermediate d5. Yeah, queen a7 played by Gunina, which is pretty much the same as queen b7, but doesn't attack the knight on d4, which might make the difference. Right, so let me show what happens in Kosteniuk against Pogonina. After d4, rook e8 back, queen c2, protecting on e4, queen e7, knight goes to e3. Again, some intermediate moves are planned in case of e takes d4, I assume. So queen f8. And usually it's somewhat sad sign if you have to play queen f8, even though now white intends, black intends to take on d4. Maybe it's not as bad as it seems, because you are not 100% comfortable doing this with white. Because after simple d5, I don't think if I have any other move, but d5 should be fine. At least black achieves that the bishop is playing. Might be still better for white though, but yeah, being white, you would prefer to keep as many options as possible, and d5 certainly deprives you of some options. Knight f5 leads nowhere. After g6, knight will be kicked back, and it's to be seen if this is a weakness. I mean, g6, if it really weakens the king's side. de5, de5 played. d5, d5 played, but now white needs a follow-up. Well, hard to say what should be white's next move. Could possibly be knight d2, because knight is not... Oh well, rook a d1, central strategy, everything in the center, which is a clever move, I must say, because black, well, is not very happy to play the what would seem an adequate response, rook a to d8, because, well, you do put the rook in the center, but you put it under the pin. So you're not happy doing this. Knight d5, yeah, knight d5 is super unpleasant. So rook d8 is just silly, and then white has a pressure over the g file. I think it might be that some radical measures have to be taken for black, like playing g5, eliminating the knight on e3 just to, you know, reduce white's attacking potential. Yeah, not such a pleasant business for white, for black, pardon, to defend this position. White's obviously better. Yeah, I like this rook a d1. Yeah, classical move, rook in the center. Right, and how about the other Giuoco piano? And let's check out what happens here. Rook a to d8. Rook e6 was played by Pogonina. Same rook went to e8 from e6, just few moves back. So you can feel something is wrong with black's position if you have to play back and forth. And during these 4 moves, you played your queen to f8 as well. So knight d5. Rook goes to c8. Rook e2, preparing, well, covering f2 if needed. I mean, there is no way I can see that something can happen on f2 right now, but anyway, it's nice to overprotect this square. And of course, the main plan of course is to double over d file. Black found it hard to deal with the position without g5. So g5, bishop g3, knight went to h5, rook ed2, queen to e8. Right, and black perhaps... No, I was thinking if black wants to play c6. Not really. Already might be some motives. I have a question. What happens if white plays c4? Can black handle this? c4... well, there is c6. And I thought something will fall, but not necessarily. Even though, hang on a second, knight e3. Now this is the square, so you have to take the knight. I mean, if knight appears on f5, you probably stop the clock. So bishop takes e3, and then instead of recapturing the bishop, I take the knight on d7, threatening this and threatening the bishop. Now, this seems to be very good. So c4, and my point is, if black plays basically any other move, defensive move, then of course I go c5. I just block the bishop, and again it looks too much for black to handle. So that's a very serious advantage for Alexandra Kosteniuk. Pogonina is down to 20 minutes only, and still 17 moves to be played before they reach the time control. Well, Lela Java things changing drastically. So, hang on a second. c4 I've seen, right? And then it was a5. So maybe my c4 was not that clever after all. ba5, knight to con g3, which is a little bit surprising, to be honest. King g7, rook to b1, knight c5, and this gives white a possibility to transfer the knight on f5. So now white has to be better, from better to much better. So check, rook to d5, forcing c6. I'm not sure if you need to force c6. So the pawn on a4 is not hanging. c6 and rook d to d1. I'm wondering if it was possible to play other rook to d1, or perhaps it's too fancy. My point is to capture with the pawn, to attack this and to threaten a discovery, but then e4 is here, and probably this doesn't work. No. There is no reason to be brilliant, because just good moves should do for white in this kind of position, with black king being exposed to any potential mating attacks, like after queen e2, some knight h4 will be threatening. Rook is stuck on e6. It's really, really bad for Pogonina. So that will be, if Kosteniuk wins, that will be convincing revenge for a loss at Russian Superfinal just a month ago, where Pogonina had white pieces and won it again quite in a quite convincing fashion. Right, still no moves. I'm wondering if Relay is a little bit stuck in Hotenashvili and Ju Wenjun. No, probably. I won't exaggerate much if I would say that this game is practically decided. Even though black found the way not to lose on a spot, they didn't trade queens. King g2, rook e8, queen to c1, and black played rook to h8. planning for h5 if I got it right. So after this, black is planning for h5, takes, rook h5, queen has to go. Oh well, it's not easy. Well, all of a sudden it tends to be not easy at all. Because queen e1 I was thinking of, but then it seems black can take. Takes. Queen f5. Nah, probably this is lost. Rook takes b7 and a6. Yeah, this is just bad. a6. Rook comes here and rook e7. But still it's a majority on the king side, you know, so black will start pushing. Won't be 100% sure. Won't be 100% sure in this position. So it's, well, Kosteniuk will of course look and try to find something more convincing, so to speak. Queen just went to c1, so you don't play queen c2 here. Yeah, rook h8 is one clever move. You need the rook to first rank, I would say. Ah, hang on, can I do this, h5 and rook d1 first? Don't know what I want, but at the same time I don't know where black places his queen. Because there might be some issues with me taking on e5, playing rook d6, you know, or to start with rook d6. Queen is awkward on h1, obviously. By the way, as I said, queen is awkward. Now, rook takes. I mean, this I wasn't sure, even though I should be, because over there it's, I think this is the move which finishes the game on the spot. King h3 with mate from g7. Alright, rook d7 was also fine, because here I take. After rook h1, it's mate with a pawn, which, well, in the childhood I would consider to be, well, to be honored to deliver a mate with a pawn. These times again, it's just mate. Rook d1, so it does work then. I mean, in case of h4. Queen h5. Is there any other? Well, you don't like white queen appearing on h5, so you do play h5. There is one more move, which is queen h3. But this allows queen d3. This needs to be seriously calculated. No, I would go with rook d1 as long as I assume it works. Rook d1, say queen h7. This feels like black's gonna lose. Rook d6, threatening this. It's actually mate. Haha, it's mate. Queen h1 played. Yeah, if you go king h7, then probably anything will do. I would consider a6 now. You know, yeah, a6, if takes, then rook takes e7. Or alternatively just swapping everything's here and then playing a6. Yeah, this should win, more or less convincing. All right, so Kosteniuk is winning. Pogonina, yeah, I don't think there is any other move but h5, and then rook d1 seem to win. All right, Gunina and Batsiashvili. Let's let Kosteniuk, without thinking too much, just took on h5, and this is a right decision. Black is absolutely helpless. Black is absolutely helpless, and I mean the fact that after queen c8, black is not threatening anything. Bishop d6 is not a threat. Only adds to white, well, to the understanding that there will be no chance for Natalija Pogonina. And then white plays h6, then threatening knight takes g5. So Pogonina will look for a chance, but it is well, I mean, it's highly possible she will not play a next move. No chance at all, I can see, for black. Knight a2 played by Nino Batsiashvili, and then king e2 must...
We have another press conference. Alexandra Kosteniuk outplayed Natalija Pogonina with white. So Alexandra, you revenged after Novosibirsk. And please tell how it was going on in the game.
Well, I think I got a very pleasant position from the opening. So I'm not sure. Well, knight b8 cannot be a good idea. I mean, of course, if black has time to go to g6 via d7 f8, but it's still hard to believe. Well, the problem here, there were too many, possibilities for me to play. I'm not sure the way I played was the best, but at least it was, the easiest, the most logical as I saw it. So I played d4, which is usually one of the main ideas here for white. And here I spent some time trying to understand what will happen if I take immediately. But then I think knight takes e5. It's generally better, a good idea for black to exchange as many pieces as possible. And here, I calculated something like this. Still, I think should be better for me, but I wasn't sure for how much. Because if I play knight e3, then probably bishop takes e3. No?
So it simplifies a lot.
Yes, so that's why I played queen c2, because I thought that I'm not really in a hurry. And after queen e7, I already played knight e3. And so here black has to take with the pawn, because otherwise I will, I think, just take on f6, and it will be, the pawn structure will be too bad. Well, and here I have a very pleasant position. It was still not so clear how to,
What was your plan? What was your plan?
Well, to improve a little bit. So I improved in the center, and then I played c4 with a threat to go to play c5, and I was thinking that a5.
Didn't see other move.
No, because when white plays c4, usually in this kind of structure, a5 is a regular reply, yes. But here, after b takes a5, I thought that it's actually an improvement for my position, because I have an extra pawn and I opened up the file.
After c5 also.
Yeah, probably. No, because otherwise, I don't know, I wanted to play a5 at first, but then probably knight f8 and then knight g6. Still, white is better, but not so easy to break through. And here, well, I think my position is just better than why in all concrete lines I'm ahead of time. So I didn't really see how black could have somewhere here probably. So, but still, I think it's just a question of time and how precise white will be. And at the end, when Natalija resigns, there's a nice line: rook takes e6, and then there is no way to protect the rook, because here it's checkmate, and otherwise the rook is lost on h8. But as I was told, I could have won earlier. I could have taken on h5, and here I'm winning by also a very nice idea. I didn't see it at all. Yes, and then the queen is hanging, because I was calculating here queen h3 with some ideas. For example, if knight takes and I take, and I have this knight h4, but after king f7 I didn't see anything. So I thought that here should be better for me.
So many people are curious about your necklace. So please tell us a couple of words about your idea to...
Well, actually it's by chance I found the lady. Actually she's a former Russian. She's from St. Petersburg, but she lives in Germany. I found her online, and she's making chess-related jewelry. I wrote to her I thought that when I saw it, I thought that she was a chess player. But no, apparently her son likes to play chess, and she's making jewelry, usually not related to chess, but she has a
collection.
Collection of chess related things, and well, that's. I'm always happy to find some chess-related items, not only in jewelry, but in everything else.
But how many do you have in jewelry? I think 2, of course.
Well, I don't count, but yeah, I have my favorite one with a pawn and a crown that I wore yesterday. I like it very much because when I was small, my father created a logo for me and my sister, and it was a pawn with a crown on top of it, and so the sister Kosteniuk, it stated, and so that's why I like this necklace very much. And I don't remember where I got it. Somehow I found it in my items, and I fell in love with it, so I wear it often. But I usually, I'm a very big fan for chess-related items, black and white and square things. So.